Hey kids, how's it going? It's Grandpa. Still waiting on my microphone. But I wanted to talk today about adoption. Some statistics about adoption and maybe my adoption story. We'll see how much we can get into in 5 minutes. So, one thing I wanted to say is there's millions of kids worldwide that would love a home and love to be adopted. Also, there's 1,800 kids right now in foster care that need to be adopted in America alone. And 6 out of 10 people in this country know someone or have some affiliation with someone that's adopted. So it's pretty huge. But some facts that you might need to know before adoption, it probably would have been good for my parents to know before they adopted me, is kids that are adopted as compared to kids who were born, birth children. So kids who are adopted are 2 times more likely to have some sort of disability, 3 times more likely to get suspended from school, and 4 times more likely to have to repeat a grade. And I'm going to put some statistics on here about disabilities so you can check out this graph I have right now. But after all that said, I don't want to get too negative because 9 out of 10 parents who adopted kids would do it again. So my story, some of it you've heard, but I was in an orphanage for a year. So for a year I was swaddled and not given the proper stimulation. They would just come by and feed me. And then after that time, I got adopted by my parents. Now, I'd like to say it was awesome and I have the best family and I lived happily after all, but that's not the case. It is kind of the case. I love my parents and they're great people. But growing up, being Hispanic and Caucasian, because my parents are American, they've lived here for many generations and they were unable to conceive. So they were in their 30s when they adopted me. I always kind of felt like I didn't know where I belonged and I had a lot of behavior issues. And I wasn't very close with my dad growing up. He worked really hard. And he was a good role model, but we were not very close. And I wasn't even that close with my mom. I was closer, but it wasn't until I got older, maybe in my teens or late teens, that we really started to relate. And that was really when I started calming down. I mean, I got suspended from school in the 1st grade. And I would literally get in trouble or fights all the time. They sent me to boarding school to try to see if that would help with some of my learning disabilities. And even there, I think I had detention more than any other student in the school. So not to scare you, but I want to give you some realities. I mean, I was always in trouble. And it wasn't until later that, through school, they knew I had a learning disability. So I got an IEP, which is an individualized learning plan. And I was able to get some help through school. And then I got medicated and figured out who I was, got some counseling and therapy, and I was able to complete college, and I do really well at my job. I always get compliments, and my clients always say, you never look down to me, you never talk down to me, you kind of look face to face. And in my mind, I'm like, hey, if I didn't have the positive people in my life, I could easily be where you are. Like, I could be homeless, or I could be in a certain situation. This relates to when I was doing street homelessness. I could be there. And so luckily I had the love and support and helped me build self-esteem that I was able to do this. I mean, some other accomplishments is for one of the companies here, I created a culturally specific program for MADD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, because they were seeing poor numbers and unsuccessful of keeping a lot of the Hispanic population from recidivism, which is like coming back again and again. I worked for Detox for a couple years, so that's like the drunk tank. I don't know, there's other references for it. But they would always get me when someone was escalated because I was always able to calm people down. I was always able to be like, look, I'm here you need to relax. We can talk about things. And I was always able to, conflict resolution was always really strong with me. And so I think part of the disconnect I had with my dad is I always felt like my dad was really successful and did really well. And I had all these learning problems and disabilities. And I always felt like he was disappointed in me. Like he wished he could have his own son that would follow in his path of business and being just smart, and being a good kid and just like emulating being like an echo of who he was. And I was definitely not that. But later in our lives, we definitely came to respect And he understood me better. I understood him better, and we became best friends. And on tomorrow's show, I'll cover death because my dad did pass away. About his birthday just happened, and he passed away just not quite 2 years ago. And so that's pretty traumatic for me still, because we became such good friends. He was even the best man at my wedding. So that is enough for today's show. Let me know if you have any questions or anything, and check out my YouTube page and subscribe. Take care.